Professor Lee Jin-ho watched the swirling colors of the holographic display fill the command center. The large screen showed an alien vessel approaching Earth's orbit, its design crude yet functional. The ship's hull gleamed with a dull metal sheen, nothing like the advanced metamaterials Earth's ships used. Jin-ho could tell from just a glance that their propulsion systems were barely past the experimental stage. Dr. Park Sun-me stood beside him, her hand covering her mouth to hide her smile as the alien vessel made its awkward approach. The aliens were broadcasting their arrival on all frequencies, proud of their achievement like children showing off their first science project. "Poor things," Sun-me whispered. "They have no idea what they're about to learn." The first transmission came through crystal clear, despite the primitive encoding. A creature that looked like a cross between an octopus and a jellyfish appeared on screen. Its translucent body pulsed with bioluminescent patterns that shifted from blue to green with excitement. "Greetings, beings of the third planet. We are the Lumini, first of all species from the Nexus Arm to achieve faster-than-light travel." The alien's translator conveyed both its words and its overwhelming pride. Jin-ho kept his face carefully neutral, though inside he wanted to laugh at the irony. Humanity had mastered faster-than-light travel when these beings' ancestors were still swimming in their primordial oceans. The massive engines that had once powered humanity's first exodus to the stars still lay dormant beneath Earth's oceans, waiting for the day they might be needed again. "Welcome to Earth," Jin-ho replied with practiced diplomacy. "I am Professor Lee Jin-ho, and this is Dr. Park Sun-me. We represent Earth's First Contact Division." The alien's colors swirled faster. "You have a division specifically for first contact. But how? We detected no signs of advanced space travel from your world." Sun-me stepped forward. "We prefer to be prepared for all possibilities. Please, tell us more about your people." The alien, who introduced itself as Navigator Lux, spent the next hour enthusiastically describing their civilization's achievements. Jin-ho and Sun-me listened patiently as Lux detailed their groundbreaking discoveries, most of which humanity had surpassed millennia ago. The real entertainment began when the Lumini started their standard planetary scans. Jin-ho watched their confusion grow as their instruments detected layer upon layer of ancient human activity. "There must be some mistake," Lux said, its colors fading to a confused purple. "These readings suggest signs of civilization dating back hundreds of thousands of years." "No mistake," Sun-me replied calmly. "Those readings are accurate." The alien's tentacles writhed in agitation. But that's impossible. No species could have existed that long without leaving clear signs of technological advancement. Where are your space stations? Your planetary defense systems? Your industrial complexes? Jin-ho smiled gently. "Who says we don't have those things?" He pressed a button on his console, temporarily lifting the holographic camouflage that hid Earth's true face from primitive scanning technology. For just 3 seconds, the Lumini saw reality. Massive orbital rings circling the planet, energy collectors that dwarfed cities, and defense platforms that could reduce entire fleets to atoms. When the camouflage re-engaged, Lux had turned pure white with shock. "Welcome to Earth," Jin-ho repeated. "We look forward to teaching you about the true history of our galaxy. But first, perhaps you'd like to dock at our station. The one you're looking at is just a projection. I'll show you to our actual facilities." The Lumini ship followed Jin-ho's instructions in stunned silence as he guided them to a massive space station that had simply appeared from nowhere. As they approached, Sun-me prepared the standard welcome package for young civilizations making first contact. "Do you think they're ready?" she asked Jin-ho quietly. He watched the alien ship's careful approach, noting their precise control despite their obvious shock. They'd made it this far on their own. That counts for something. He paused, remembering his own ancestors' decisions. Besides, they'll need to be ready. The cycles are turning again, and humanity can't guard the galaxy alone forever. Sun Li nodded as they walked to the docking bay to greet their visitors. It was time for the children of the galaxy to meet their elders and learn why humanity had waited so long to welcome them to the true universe. The docking bay doors opened with a soft hiss, revealing the Lumini delegation. As Jin Ho watched their amazed reactions to the advanced technology surrounding them, he felt a familiar pride. Humanity had learned patience over their long history. Now they would teach these newcomers the most important lesson of all. Wisdom comes not from the speed of advancement, but from understanding when to advance and when to wait. Kim Ta-won watched with quiet amusement as the alien archaeologists fumbled with their scanning devices. The team descended deeper into the vast complex beneath Mount Everest, their footsteps echoing through corridors that hadn't seen regular use in over 100,000 years. The preserved facility stretched for miles underground, a testament to humanity's ancient achievements. The lead alien researcher, a tall being with crystalline skin who called itself Bright Stone, kept switching between different scanning devices in disbelief. Its crystalline surface flickered with patterns of confusion and excitement as each scan confirmed what it couldn't accept. "These readings make no sense," Bright Stone said, its voice tinged with frustration. "The atomic decay patterns indicate this facility is over 150,000 years old, but the technology is beyond anything we've ever seen." Taiwan nodded, running his hand along a wall that still hummed with power after all these millennia. "This was one of our early research centers. Not our most advanced, but it served its purpose." The alien team stopped in their tracks. Another researcher, a gaseous being contained in an environmental suit, floated closer to examine a still-functioning control panel. "Early, you mean to tell us humans built even more advanced facilities than this?" "Of course," Ta-won replied, placing his palm on the control panel. The entire chamber came alive with holographic displays, showing star charts and technological schematics that made the aliens' instruments look like children's toys. "This was mainly a geological research station. Would you like to see what we were actually studying here?" Without waiting for a response, Ta-won activated the facility's main research archive. The chamber transformed around them, becoming a three-dimensional display of Earth's entire tectonic system. Layers of data showed how humans had learned to predict and control planetary movements thousands of centuries ago. "Impossible," whispered Bright Stone, its crystalline form shimmering with shock. "Your species had mastered planetary engineering before most races had discovered fire." Taiwan led them deeper into the facility, past rooms filled with machines that still functioned perfectly after millennia of disuse. "We learned early that advancement without wisdom leads to destruction. That's why we chose to hide our true capabilities." The alien team documented everything with obsessive detail, their disbelief growing with each new discovery. In one chamber, they found vehicles designed to travel through the planet's core. In another, they discovered prototype devices for manipulating gravity itself. News of their findings spread quickly through the galactic community. Within days, more alien species arrived, each hoping to unlock the secrets of humanity's past. Ships from a dozen different civilizations now orbited Earth, their presence hidden from the general human population by the same technology that had concealed Earth's true nature for so long. Taiwan found himself hosting tours for increasingly prestigious alien scientists and leaders. Each group reacted with the same mixture of awe and disbelief when they realized the full scope of human history. In one particularly memorable moment, he showed them the facility's quantum computation center, where processors made of controlled singularities still calculated cosmic events millions of years in advance. "But why?" asked a hive-mind entity composed of floating light motes. "Why did you hide all this? Why pretend to be so much less advanced than you are?" Taiwan walked to a viewing window overlooking an enormous chamber filled with suspended animation pods, most of them empty now, but some still preserving their ancient occupants. "Because we learned something important during our early advancement," he explained. "We saw other civilizations rise and fall. We watched them destroy themselves with technology they weren't ready to control. And we realized that progress without patience leads to extinction. He touched another control panel, bringing up historical records that made the aliens fall silent with horror. The records showed civilization after civilization discovering advanced technology too quickly, leading to their own destruction. We chose a different path, Taiwan continued. We learned to wait, to advance slowly, to understand the responsibility that comes with power. And we watched over the galaxy, helping where we could, preventing disasters when necessary. The aliens absorbed this information in stunned silence. Their own civilizations had been rushing toward advancement, proud of their rapid progress. Now they began to understand why the humans had seemed so calm about their arrival. "There's more to show you," Taiwan said, leading them toward a sealed vault door. "Much more. But first, you need to understand that knowledge isn't just about discovery. It's about knowing when to use what you've learned and when to wait." The vault door opened, revealing secrets that would reshape the galaxy's understanding of not just humanity, but of civilization itself. As Taiwan watched the aliens' reactions, he knew that humanity's long vigil was finally coming to an end. The time had come to share their knowledge, slowly, carefully, and wisely. Song Henul led the group of alien diplomats through the massive underwater complex. The facility stretched for miles beneath the Pacific Ocean floor, hidden from prying eyes by advanced cloaking technology. The diplomatic party included representatives from 12 different species, each chosen by their governments to witness humanity's greatest secret. The main archive chamber was a perfect sphere, its walls lined with crystalline memory cores that pulsed with a soft blue light. Henul stood at the central control platform, her hands hovering over the ancient interface that had recorded the galaxy's history for hundreds of thousands of years. "What you are about to see has been viewed by very few non-humans," she said, her voice echoing in the chamber. "This is the Great Library, humanity's record of all that has been and all that was lost." Henul pressed her palm against the control surface. The chamber darkened, and then erupted into light as millions of stars filled the space around them. The aliens gasped as they found themselves floating in a perfect recreation of the galaxy as it had existed 300,000 years ago. "Watch," Henul commanded softly. The galaxy began to move, time flowing forward at an accelerated pace. Points of light began to appear on various worlds, the birth of civilizations. The aliens watched in wonder as these lights grew, spread, and then, all too often, winked out. The green lights represent civilizations that achieve faster than light travel. Henul explained. The red flashes mark their end. One of the diplomats, a crystalline being named Clear Thought, drifted closer to a cluster of dying worlds. "All these species, they're gone." "Yes," Henul confirmed. "We watched them rise, watched them reach for the stars, and watched them destroy themselves. Some through war, some through environmental collapse, some through technological accidents they weren't prepared to handle." The display zoomed in on a particular world. The aliens watched as a civilization rose from stone tools to spaceflight in less than 1,000 years. Then came the flash of their sun going nova, an accident with an experimental drive system. "This is why we hide our true capabilities," Henul said. "This is why we appear primitive to outside observers. We learned from watching others that rapid advancement leads to destruction." She gestured, and the display shifted to show Earth's own history. The aliens watched in amazement as humanity's timeline unfolded, their early achievements, their first steps into space, and then something unexpected. Instead of continuing to advance openly, humans began to hide their technology, creating the illusion of a much slower progression. "We became the Watchers," Henul explained, "the guardians of knowledge. When we saw the pattern of civilizations destroying themselves, we chose a different path. We would advance slowly, carefully, and preserve the knowledge of those who came before." The chamber filled with images of human observers throughout history, watching and recording as civilizations rose and fell. hidden bases on distant moons, automated probes disguised as asteroids, all collecting and preserving the knowledge of countless species. One of the alien diplomats, a gaseous being named Gentle Breeze, swirled in agitation. But why not share this knowledge? Why let species make the same mistakes over and over? Haynul's expression turned sad. We tried, in the beginning. We tried to warn them, to guide them. But knowledge given is not the same as knowledge earned. Those we tried to help either dismissed us as frauds or tried to steal our technology before they were ready for it. She waved her hand again, and the display showed hundreds of parallel timelines. These are the civilizations we tried to help directly. Every one of them destroyed themselves faster than they would have without our intervention. The aliens watched in silence as the evidence of humanity's long vigil played out before them. Records of millions of years of history, preserved in perfect detail. The rise and fall of empires that had vanished so long ago that not even their ruins remained. But now something has changed, Haynul said, bringing up current star charts. Your civilizations are different. You've shown signs of understanding the need for caution, for wisdom along with advancement. That's why you're here. The chamber returned to normal lighting, though echoes of the galactic display still seemed to linger in the air. Haynul faced the assembled diplomats solemnly. We are showing you this because we believe you're ready to understand, not just the technology, but the responsibility that comes with it. The Great Library holds knowledge that could advance your civilizations by centuries, but only if you're prepared to use it wisely. The aliens looked at each other, the weight of this revelation visible in their various forms of expression. They had come expecting to learn about humanity's past, but instead they had discovered something far more significant: the true history of the galaxy itself, preserved by patient observers who had chosen wisdom over power. The choice is yours, Haynul concluded. You can leave here and continue on your current path, or you can join us as custodians of history. But know this, with knowledge comes responsibility, and the galaxy has little patience for those who ignore its lessons. The chamber fell silent except for the soft hum of the ancient memory cores, each one holding the stories of countless lost civilizations. The aliens faced their choice, while humanity's greatest secret lay before them, waiting to see if they would understand its true value. The Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council hummed with nervous energy as Chief Archivist Jai-Yun arranged her presentation materials. Representatives from 30 young civilizations filled the ancient hall, their varied forms creating a living tapestry of galactic diversity. The chamber itself was hidden in a pocket dimension, a technology so old that even most humans had forgotten how to create new ones. Jai-Yun felt the weight of history on her shoulders as she activated the holographic display. The first image showed a beautiful spiral galaxy as it had appeared 250,000 years ago. Then, one by one, bright points of light began to appear and disappear, each representing a civilization that had risen and fallen. What you're seeing is not a simulation, Jai-Yun explained, her voice calm but firm. These are actual recordings from our archives. Each light represents a spacefaring civilization. Each disappearance marks their end. A representative from the crystalline species raised a glittering appendage. But surely some of these civilizations still exist. Perhaps they simply moved or changed form. Jai-Yun shook her head and zoomed in on one particular world. The assembled aliens watched as a civilization progressed from primitive technology to space travel in less than a millennium. Their achievement was marked by celebrations, triumphant speeches, and grand plans for expansion. Then came the end. A miscalculation with their first faster-than-light drive torn their star system apart. This pattern repeats itself throughout history, Jai-Yun continued, showing case after case of civilizations that advanced too quickly. Some destroy themselves through war, others through environmental collapse, and many through accidents with technology they didn't fully understand. She paused the display on a particular image, a world consumed by self-replicating machines that had escaped their creator's control. The aliens shifted uncomfortably, several of them recognizing similarities to projects their own scientists were developing. This is why humanity chose to appear primitive, Jai-Yun explained. Our ancestors saw this pattern early in our development. They realized that rapid advancement without corresponding wisdom leads to destruction. The display shifted to show Earth's history, the deliberate slowing of technological progress, the careful preservation of knowledge, the hidden watchers who recorded everything, but rarely intervened. "But why show us this now?" asked a gaseous being floating in its containment suit. "Why reveal yourselves after so long?" Jai-Yun's expression grew grave as she brought up current data from multiple young civilizations. The patterns were clear, energy signatures, matching those that had preceded previous disasters, research projects following dangerous paths, weapons development accelerating beyond control. "Because you're all approaching critical points in your development," she said softly. "We've seen these signs before. Without intervention, at least 60% of your civilizations will destroy themselves within the next century." The chamber erupted in shocked murmurs and protests. Jai-Yun waited patiently for quiet to return before continuing. "We've spent millennia debating whether to intervene. Our early attempts to help developing civilizations usually made things worse. Knowledge given too freely is often misused. But watching so many species destroy themselves, it takes a toll." She showed them humanity's hidden achievements, the Dyson swarms disguised as natural phenomena, the planet-moving engines sleeping beneath Earth's oceans, the quantum computers that could simulate entire universes. "We could give you this technology now," Jai-Yun said. "But without the wisdom to use it properly, we would only be hastening your destruction. Instead, we offer you a choice." The display changed to show a new program, a carefully planned series of technological and cultural exchanges designed to help young civilizations advance safely. "We can guide you, teach you the lessons our ancestors learned through countless observations, but you must be willing to slow down, to progress at a pace that allows wisdom to keep up with advancement." One of the representatives, a being of pure energy, pulsed with skepticism. "And if we refuse? If we choose to continue on our current path?" Jai-Yun's response was gentle but firm. "Then we will continue to watch, and we will record your story alongside the millions of others in our archives. But know this, every civilization that has refused guidance when offered has destroyed itself within 3 generations." The chamber fell silent as the weight of this choice settled over the assembled representatives. Jai-Yun gave them time to process, watching their reactions carefully. Some showed fear, others determination, and a few displayed the kind of thoughtful consideration that gave her hope. "We don't ask you to abandon your achievements or ambitions," she said finally. "We ask only that you learn to balance progress with wisdom. The galaxy is littered with the remains of civilizations that rushed forward without looking ahead. Humanity chose a different path. We offer you the chance to do the same." The ancient hall filled with quiet discussions as the representatives considered their options. Jai-Yun waited patiently, knowing that this moment would determine the fate of countless beings. The evidence was clear, the choice was theirs, and the future of their civilizations hung in the balance. The warnings had been given. Now they would see which of these young species had the wisdom to heed them. The Martian facility stretched deep beneath the planet's red surface, its ancient halls carved from solid bedrock by technology long hidden from the galaxy. Choi Min-sung stood before the assembled alien initiates in the Great Hall of Guardians, where holographic records showed thousands of years of secret history. 12 beings from different species had passed the rigorous testing and background checks to reach this moment. They represented the first non-humans ever invited to join the Order of Guardians, humanity's hidden protectors who had watched over developing civilizations for countless generations. "What you're about to see has been witnessed by very few outside our order," Min-sung said, activating the chamber's memory crystals. The room transformed around them, showing scenes from across history. Guardian agents subtly preventing disasters, guiding young civilizations away from catastrophic mistakes and preserving knowledge that might otherwise have been lost forever. A crystalline being named Pure Light watched in amazement as the records showed Guardians preventing a sun from going nova by secretly adjusting a young civilization's experimental drive systems. "You were there all along," it whispered, watching over us like parents over children. Min Sung nodded, bringing up more recent records. "We intervene only when absolutely necessary, and always in ways that cannot be traced back to us. Our role is not to control the destiny of other species, but to preserve them from their own worst mistakes." The display showed a Guardian agent disguised as a native scientist, subtly altering experimental data to prevent a civilization from developing devastating weapons too early in their development. Another scene showed Guardians secretly neutralizing a plague that would have wiped out an entire species. "But how do you decide when to intervene?" asked a gaseous being called Shifting Mist. "How do you know when to act and when to let events unfold naturally?" Min Sung gestured, and the chamber filled with complex mathematical models. "We use quantum predictive engines to calculate the outcomes of potential interventions. We act only when the probability of species survival increases significantly with our help." He showed them the Guardians' monitoring systems, countless hidden sensors throughout the galaxy, disguised as natural phenomena, watching for signs of civilizations approaching critical development stages. "Each of you has been chosen because you understand the burden of this responsibility," Min Sung continued. "You've shown the wisdom to know that power without restraint leads to destruction." The initiates watched as he revealed the Guardians' most closely guarded secrets, the massive archives of preserved technology, the quantum computers that simulated millions of possible futures, the hidden fleets that could reach any point in the galaxy within hours. "From this day forward, you will carry two burdens," Min Sung explained. "The knowledge of what we can do, and the wisdom to know when we should not. It is often harder to watch and wait than to act." A bioluminescent creature named Gentle Glow pulsed with curiosity. "Why trust us now, after so long of keeping these secrets?" Min Sung's expression softened. "Because the galaxy is changing. More civilizations are reaching critical development stages simultaneously than ever before. Humanity can no longer watch over everyone alone." He showed them the training they would undergo. Years of learning to use advanced technology, while understanding its limitations, mastering the art of subtle intervention, learning to calculate the consequences of their actions across centuries. "You will learn to see the patterns we have observed for millennia," Min Sung said. "The signs that precede disaster, the moments when a small change can prevent catastrophe, the delicate balance between helping and controlling." The chamber shifted again, showing the current state of the galaxy. Dozens of civilizations were approaching dangerous technological thresholds. The initiates began to understand the weight of responsibility they were accepting. "From today forward, you are Guardians," Min Sung declared. "You will watch, you will protect, and you will preserve. But remember, our greatest power lies not in our technology, but in our restraint." The ceremony concluded with each initiate receiving a quantum link, a device that connected them to the Guardians' vast network of knowledge and resources. As they adapted to their new role, Min Sung watched them with quiet pride. One by one, the new Guardians began to understand the true depth of their commitment. They were no longer merely members of their own species. They were now part of an ancient order dedicated to preserving life throughout the galaxy. "Your first assignment begins tomorrow," Min Sung announced. "You will return to your worlds not as leaders or controllers, but as watchers and protectors. The hardest part of our duty is knowing when not to act, when to let others learn from their own mistakes." The initiates nodded solemnly, already feeling the weight of their new responsibility. They had become part of something far older and more important than themselves, the silent guardians of countless civilizations, carrying the wisdom of ages into a future that needed their guidance more than ever before. Min Sung watched them depart to their quarters, knowing that the Order of Guardians had taken a historic step. For the first time, humanity would share not just its knowledge, but its sacred duty to protect and preserve the young species of the galaxy. The emergency alert woke Senior Commander Han Juri from deep sleep. The quantum sensors hidden throughout the galaxy had detected something she had hoped never to see again. The energy signature was unmistakable, a pattern that had appeared only 6 times in recorded history, each time preceding the destruction of multiple civilizations. In her command center beneath the Pacific Ocean, Juri verified the readings 3 times before activating the emergency beacon. Within minutes, the hidden chamber filled with holographic representations of the Galactic Council's leaders, their varied forms flickering with anxiety. "The darkness is returning," Juri announced without preamble. The ancient enemy had no proper name. Humans had simply called it the darkness since their first encounter with it 200,000 years ago. Our long-range sensors detected its energy signature at the edge of the galaxy. The sight filled him with both pride and concern. In just 3 months, they had transformed a scattered collection of primitive spacecraft into a fighting force capable of facing the darkness. The younger species had learned quickly, their crews mastering technology that their civilizations wouldn't have developed for thousands of years. "Beautiful, isn't it?" asked Admiral Lee Minna, joining him at the window. "I never thought I'd see the day when we flew openly alongside others." Du Yun nodded, watching as a squadron of crystalline ships practiced dimensional jumps alongside Earth's veteran cruisers. Our ancestors would be proud. They hid our power to protect others, but they always hoped for a day when we could stand together as equals. The training exercises continued below, ships weaving through complex patterns designed to confuse the darkness's sensors. Each vessel now carried weapons based on humanity's most advanced technology: quantum disruptors, reality anchors, and temporal shields that could protect them from the enemy's existence-erasing attacks. "The latest reports show the darkness has accelerated," Minna said, bringing up a tactical display. "It will reach the outer systems in 2 months, not 3. Du Yun studied the data with a grim expression. The ancient enemy had never moved this fast before, as if it sensed humanity's preparations and was rushing to strike before they were ready. "Call the fleet commanders," he ordered. "It's time for the final briefing." An hour later, Du Yun stood before representatives from every species in the Alliance. The massive briefing room hummed with nervous energy as he activated the historical archives. "For over 200,000 years, humanity chose isolation," he began. "We watched civilizations rise and fall, preserving knowledge but rarely interfering. We hid our true nature to protect both ourselves and others from powers they weren't ready to control." The display showed humanity's long journey, their early encounters with the darkness, their decision to hide their advancement, their centuries of secret guardianship over the galaxy. "But times change," Du Yun continued. "You've proven yourselves worthy allies, learning in months what took our ancestors generations to master. Now we face our ancient enemy not as teachers and students, but as equals." He brought up the latest battle plans. The combined fleet would meet the darkness at the edge of populated space, using humanity's dimensional technology to evacuate threatened systems, while their weapons held the enemy at bay. "Some of you have asked why we chose to reveal ourselves now," Du Yun said. "The answer is simple: survival. The darkness grows stronger with each passing century. Humanity alone can no longer drive it back. We need your courage, your creativity, your different ways of thinking to defeat this threat once and for all." The fleet commanders nodded solemnly. They had seen the historical records, watched recordings of previous battles where human ships sacrificed themselves to drive the darkness away from populated worlds. "Our ancestors preserved knowledge through isolation," Du Yun declared, "but we will preserve life through unity. Each of your species brings unique strengths to this fight. Together, we are stronger than humanity ever was alone." The briefing continued as Du Yun detailed the final preparations: emergency evacuation protocols, backup plans, contingencies for every scenario they could imagine. The younger species had learned well, adding their own insights to battle strategies developed over millennia. As the commanders departed to prepare their forces, Du-Yun returned to the observation deck. The fleet exercises had ended, and now ships of all species docked together at Earth's orbital stations, their crews mingling and sharing final meals before deployment. "We've come so far," Minna said softly, "from hiding in the shadows to standing in the light." Du-Yun watched as a group of alien officers entered the station, heading for the quantum weapons training facility. Their species had barely achieved spaceflight a decade ago, yet now they handled technology that could reshape reality itself. "This is what our ancestors wanted," he replied. "Not eternal isolation, but a galaxy ready to stand together against any threat. They would be proud to see their children teaching others to use their gifts wisely." The fleet would deploy tomorrow, spreading through the galaxy to protect younger civilizations from humanity's ancient enemy. But this time, Earth's guardians wouldn't fight alone. The age of secrecy was over. The age of unity had begun.